So this is part 2 of the SAT video, and I need to redo question 16 that I totally screwed up, but I think this is a pretty challenging problem. I wouldn't have necessarily figured out, I think, under certain time constraints this problem, but maybe you did. So I was on the right track with my first step, foiling all this out on the left-hand side. And in the equation, it says this expression is equal to bx, so I was correct in setting it up that way. So let me FOIL this out. You have 4a x squared, right? That's your first. Your outer is negative 4x. Your inner is 4ax, and your last is negative 4. Then you have this minus x squared plus 4 equals bx. So now we need to solve for b. B is a constant. They want us to solve for B. So the next step is to group together the terms that are both x squared. So we have 4ax squared minus x squared. We also have a plus 4 and a minus 4 that adds up to 0. And then we have plus 4ax minus 4x equals bx. So the next step is to factor out the x squared from each of these terms and to factor out the x from each of these terms, because we want to get an x by itself to compare the two sides of the equation. So x squared, if I divide both of these terms by x squared, I get 4a minus 1. And if I factor out an x from these two terms, I get 4a minus 4 equals bx. The next step is realizing that there's no x squared term on the right-hand side. So that tells you that this 4a minus 1 must equal 0 if there's no x squared term on the right-hand side. So that tells you that a is 1/4. Then your last step is to substitute in the 1/4. So you've got 4 times 1/4 minus 4, because that is being multiplied by x. And then if we can figure out what's being multiplied by x, we've solved for b. So 4 times 1/4 is 1, minus 4 is negative 3. So the correct answer was choice B, negative 3. To me, that was a pretty challenging question, so I hope that you got it and you are smarter than I am. All right, our next question. We've got a couple systems of equations. 2w plus 4t is 14, 4w plus 5t is 25. What's the value of 2w plus 3t? We have to solve for w and t first, then substitute in w and t and find our value. I think the easiest way is by elimination. So I have to set up my equations on top of each other. 2w plus 4t is 14. 4w plus 5t is 25. I need to multiply one of the equations through by a constant that will get rid of one of my variables. I'm going to multiply the top equation through by negative 2. So I would have negative 4w minus 8t equals negative 28. Now I can add together these two equations because my w's are gone. Negative 3t equals negative 3, so t is 1. Once you have one of your variables, you're going to substitute it into the first two equations or these two equations to find w. I'm just going to use this first equation. So I have 2w plus 4 times 1 equals 14. 2w has to equal 10, so w is 5. I know t, I know w. So now I can do 2 times w, so 2 times 5, plus 3 times t, and I get 10 plus 3 is 13. So the answer must be C, 13. That's 17. Number 18. So you're doing 18, 19, and 20 on the next page. Okay. Jennifer, that's my name, Body box of crunchy green cereal. The nutrition facts state that's the serving size. In addition, each serving provides this, 5% of daily allowance. If T% of an adult's daily allowance of potassium, each serving, 5% daily allowance. Okay, so if T% of the adult's daily allowance of potassium is provided by X servings, which of the following expresses P in terms of X? So P%. So I'm looking for an answer like, hey, 10%, 20%. I have X servings. So what would happen if I had 3 servings of the cereal? Instead of just 5%, wouldn't I have 15%? So it's not an exponential type model. It's a linear relationship. Do I want half? So 0.5% per serving. I want 5%. They must not be using a decimal for 5%. 5% times the number of servings. So for example, 5 times 3 servings would give me 15%. They're using, I guess, P percentage as a whole number because the answer is B. All right. On Tuesday, Jennifer will mix crunchy grain cereal with super grain cereal. Super grain provides this information. If the total number of calories in 1 cup is 270, how much super grain is in 1 cup of the mixture? All right. This mixture problem seems a little bit challenging. So if you can think of an easier way to do it, I used a system of equations. So it says she's going to mix the crunchy grain with the super grain cereal. Super grain gives 240 calories per cup. We know that over here, 3/4 of a cup was 210 calories. The total number of calories in 1 cup is 270. So how much super grain is in 1 cup? So let's define our variables. We need to have X, which is one of the 2 cereals. I'm going to say that that is the super grain. And I'm going to say Y is the crunchy grain. And we know that X plus Y together has to add up to 1 cup. How many calories are in each cup of super grain? Super grain gives you 240 calories per cup. So I'm going to say like money equation, 240 calories times X plus. Now over here, we need to find out how many calories are in 1 cup, because right now we know there's 210 in 3/4 of a cup. So you could figure out that there's 70 calories per 1/4 of a cup, or you could set up the proportion 3/4 is to 210 as 1 cup is to X and cross multiply. You would take 210 and divide by 0.75. You get 280. So this is actually over here, crunchy grain is 280 calories per cup. So if I'm going to use my equation, I have 280y equals 270. So X and Y are going to be part of a cup. Does that make sense? So you could use substitution or elimination. Maybe it's easy to do elimination. I don't know. Let's multiply the top equation through by negative 240. Negative 240x minus 240y equals negative 240. So now I can get rid of my x's. I have 40y equals 30. So y equals 3/4. So 3/4 of a cup for crunchy grain. So 1/4 of a cup for super grain, and they wanted super grain cereal up here. So the answer must be 1/4, which is choice B. All right. Number 20. Which of the following could be the graph of the number of calories from fat in crunchy grain cereal as a function of the number of 3/4 cup servings? Well, I think it has to be this one probably, because if you eat 0, isn't there 0 calories from fat? If you eat 1 cup, you're going to have so many calories from fat. Another cup, so many calories from fat. it doesn't make sense that you would already be eating calories of fat without eating any cereal. So without overthinking it, 20 must be A. It's not going to go down as you eat more. It's not going to plateau and stay the same no matter how much you eat. So 20 must be A. 21. The graph of the exponential function h in the xy plane, where h of x has a y-intercept of d, where d is a positive constant, which of the following could define the function? It's an exponential function, so that already tells me that's linear, that's cubic. These are my two exponential functions, right? The y-intercept is a positive constant. D is a positive constant. Which of the following could define the function? Doesn't it have to be this one, D? A positive constant is your y-intercept times 3 to the x, so 21 must be D. It is. 22.